Hello, folks. It's me back again with your Leicester City preview for the game at Turf Moor on Tuesday night. Sorry that there wasn't any contact provided for the game against Palace on Saturday. Basically, I don't have an excuse to give really. I got stuck in time, and then I had a problem with my Twitter account where I got kicked out of Twitter for attempting to follow too many people at one go because I was trying to grow the channel and I had a problem accessing my emails, so I've had to start again on Twitter, and I feel like Twitter's the best way of growing the channel. So I'm all up and running on Twitter now, and thank you to the people who've refollowed me on there and whatnot. But aside from that, fantastic result yesterday. Very sort of pleasing that we could avoid defeat at a tough place to go like Sellers Park, even though we essentially didn't turn up for all the game. It was very much only a 45-minute performance, and understandably, after 3 games in a week, we were sluggish off the pace and lethargic in the first half. But the players responded really well and came out in true Burnley gritty fashion and got a draw for us. And we were unfortunate not to win it because the goal that we scored, it was a very marginal offside for Gerrard, and it wouldn't have been offside before the era of VAR coming into play. So it could have gone either way, but some points in the week pushes us in the right direction, and we're all happy with that. Excuse me. So on to the game against Leicester on Tuesday. Uh, Again, it's a very winnable game, a game that we go into confident, a game that obviously there's an absolute massive incentive for us to try and win because, well, if we win, we'll be out of the bottom three, and if we win, we'll be not just above Everton, but obviously above Leeds too. And we have a massive opportunity now to play twice and put more points on the board in these games against Leicester and Chelsea. I'll talk about Chelsea obviously later in the week, and getting points there will be easier said than done. But theoretically, we can open up a real gap by playing 2 games before Everton kick a ball again away at Spurs, which is not until a week tomorrow, so there's a massive incentive there. And we've seen what we can do in these own games, especially like, excuse me, it's especially being at Turf Moor under the lights on a Tuesday night. I always back the boys to come out on top at home, particularly when the crowd are involved in the game, which I think we can take for granted that that will be the case because the atmospheres of recent matches have been fantastic in the past few weeks, and we've not always been sort of passionately involved this season, and at times we've been turning up to the game waiting for the players to do the work to give us something to get excited. But in the last sort of 3-4 weeks, ever since the Arsenal game, it's been that the crowd and the players have been pointing in the same direction. So I do think we'll win this game, and I'll go for a 2-1 Burnley win because very much value everything about Leicester as a club. I have a lot of Leicester fans as friends. It's a fantastically run club, like a very community-based club, a club that have gone about everything in the right way. Not a big club, maybe a bigger club than we are, but not by a million miles. Uh, sort of the size of club that Burnley could aspire to be in the future, and everything works out under the new regime of ALK and LPs, then that we could aim to be like Leicester in the next 10 years, hopefully. But fantastic stadium, fantastic project, community club, lots of sympathy for what happened to the chairman and the helicopter crash a few years ago. And obviously, they're the only team really in my lifetime to have broken the paradigm of the established top six and the only one to obviously win the Premier League and win the FA Cup. So, absolutely love Leicester, but it has to be said that the Leicester that will be playing on Tuesday night still a good team. A good team on the day, play a pleasing brand of football with lots of individual footballers that I really like. I wouldn't say that they have many rubbish players, and let's face it, from 1 to 11, you'd probably exchange at least 7 or 8 of Leicester's players for our players. But for one reason and another, they've just not been themselves this season. If we manage to beat them on Tuesday night, they'll be facing 5 successive defeats, having lost their previous 4 away games. They've only won twice away from home all season. They've conceded 43 goals from their 23 games, and so they're nowhere as near as solid as we are defensively. That's going on for almost 2 goals a game. But in attack, they have scored 37 goals in attack, which, we aren't going to have to be on our guard to keep them quiet at the other end. But although there's a slim chance that Jamie Vardy will come back into contention for this, he's been out for months and months, and he's not expected to start. And I don't know what's happened to Kelechi Iheanacho though, because last season when he was asked to debutise for Vardy, he was fantastic, and he played in a 2 at times, and he really looked like he was about to fulfil the former potential that he showed when he was a young man at City, but for whatever reason, he's been sort of out of favour, and it seems to be Patson Daka who gets the nod all the time now. He's a good sort of athletic player and sort of good at eating up the ground and linking play and things like that, but he's not clinical like Vardy or Iheanacho, so I do feel better that he's going to be the one up front. Uh, and what seems to be the case for Leicester is it's just a question that sort of they can't fulfil the heights of last year where they've thrown away fourth place twice in recent years, but especially last year they looked odds on to finish in the top 4 and break into the Champions League, and it just seems like this current squad has sort of reached its glass ceiling, and they don't know how to push on from the FA Cup win. Perhaps the strategy of Brendan Rodgers sort of being touted to leave for Manchester United early in the season has done them a lot of damage. Or maybe it's the constant need to play on Thursday nights in Europe and Sunday in the Premier League. That is stunted the progress, and obviously they might have struggled to build up momentum, through COVID postponements and playing two or three fewer games than most of the teams in the league. But personally, if you ask me, the problem is that whenever you watch Leicester, they seem to be playing with a different back four. They seem to be, Johnny Evans, the focal point of the defence, and the real talisman at the back who talks the younger players through the game, even though he's really slow and sluggish. What he doesn't have in terms of physical pace, he makes up for thinking with his brain, which gives him sort of an extra yard, and he essentially Leicester's captain figure for me, even though I don't think he wears an armband, but they've really missed him. And Wesley Fofana is an unbelievable talent, even though he's only 20. When I was watching him last season, I was watching him thinking that he had all the attributes needed to sort of be a potential Van Dijk quality defender years down the line. So now, instead of having Fofana and Evans in the back four, they're stuck with the rather weak and feeble Daniel Amount in defence, who's, as we said, not up to the standard at the back, and he's a defensive midfielder anyway. And Sion was again like a beast when he first came in, but he's just flappable, rash, diving in, looks slow, can get dragged out of position. So this is why on Tuesday I especially want to see Corner come into the side and start in partnership with Weghorst, because Rodriguez is, uh, not old, but not used to playing much football, and he's been in a lot recently. So I think it's time to freshen up that we can exploit, hopefully play those ballrooms into the channel and get his eye on you dragged out. I think that'll be pivotal to our success in this game. And then in midfield, obviously, you've still got to be very wary of Yuri Tillmans and James Maddison. But again, I'm not sure that those players are quite the players that they were 18 months ago. I remember not sort of 18 months ago, there was a conversation about Jack Grealish and James Maddison in terms of who do people rate more. Do you prefer Maddison or do you prefer Grealish now? Si- Since then, unfortunately for Maddison, his career seems to have gone on a real different trajectory to Grealish's. Uh, And yeah, he's just not the player he was. He's not been confident. He's struggled with injuries. He had a funny turn on the pitch and he was taken off. Uh, Sometimes he's greedy. It's like he tries to prove what he can do all the time rather than taking the simple options. He scored a few goals recently and appears to be finding something of his best form again. But no, he's just not quite what he was. And the same way with Yuri Tillemans, he's not quite running the games and orchestrating everything in midfield for Leicester this season like it has done in times gone by. Although I did watch Leicester play Wolves on Sky uh, this time last week, and although they lost, Leicester put in a very good performance and were unlucky to lose. and Tillmans was really good in that game. Uh, and I remember when I went to Leicester away earlier in the season, Burnley were guilty of standing off Tillmans, which led to an assist for Vardy in the game down there. So if we give Leicester time and space in midfield and we don't press, then we really will be getting our pants pulled down. So it's important that the intensity and space is afforded to him. Looking at Leicester's stats, though, what's really good news for us is that Leicester have conceded 12 goals from set pieces this season and 9 goals directly from corners. And we all know that with McNeil and Brownhill and Westwood, we can usually be relied on for deadly deliveries from set pieces. So it's important that when we get corners, it's a good delivery that we always beat the first man, and that the likes of me, Weghorst, Tarkovsky can be up there to great headers because Leicester seem to slip and slide the way between man marking and zonal marking. It's a mix and it's been very disjointed. And 12 goals directly from set pieces is really a disgrace in the Premier League. So I think we will win. I think it's a tough game for both teams, and Leicester don't quite have the sort of urgency and the integral need to win the game in the same way that we do. But equally, they've yet to win in the Premier League in 2022. So, they've got a point to prove. And if we win this game, we are only 3 points behind. So, from a Leicester perspective, the last thing that they want to be doing is sort of getting dragged towards that danger zone. What I've noticed with Leicester is it's very much sort of Jekyll and Hyde performances, inconsistencies, sort of Costin and Deer really. Saw them play well against Wolves and lose last week. Well against West Ham, only to be denied a victory in injury time. But then, previous to that, I've seen them also play absolutely sort of insipid performances where they got destroyed away at Forest, where they were 3-0 down at half, 3-1 down at half time, sorry, and ended up losing 4-1, I think it was. And then slightly previous to that, I saw them lose 2-0 at Liverpool, where they could either get out of their own half, and on another day, Liverpool could have scored 6 or 7. So it's a tale of inconsistency, a tale of Brendan Rodgers not being able to play sort of his first choice 11, constant mixing and matching, a square pegs and round holes, never having the best defenders on show, star players out of form at the same time, and just sort of a loss of direction. And if you ask me, you know, uh, Brandon Rodgers probably gets to the summer at Leicester, but if they don't improve in the early weeks of next season when they've got the best players back, then I don't think he'll be there for that much longer. But I just expect that the crowd will be with Burnley on Tuesday night, while freshening up in midfield with Westwood coming in, and he'll be hungry again and back to his best because let's face it, he had been quite poor for weeks and weeks prior to getting COVID and being out. It was almost as though he just assumed that the players that he had was his to keep, and that he didn't see Jack Cork as direct competition. But credit to Jack, Jack's come in and been immense in his last 3 games. So now we've got more competition for places, and I just think that Burnley's momentum and need to win the game will see us through. And 2-1 Burnley, I'm going to go for. And the amazing thing that could be achieved is that, if we can win this, we'll be really breathing down Brentford's neck, just 1 point behind nose, and we've got them to play and to be able to go to that game on match the 12th out of the bottom 3 will be absolutely like dreamland considering where we've come from. So, yeah, 2-1 Burnley I'm going to go for, but I wouldn't be surprised if it would be a draw either, because Leicester's strength is attacking, and Burnley's strength is sort of in defence, so it'll be interesting to see how the two dynamics of those play out against each other. Alright, I'm going to leave it there, but if I can do so and if it makes sense to me after the game and it's clear in my head, I'll come on here and do a review. Thank you for watching, and I hope everybody enjoys the game and enjoys football and quite the freedom that we have in our lives at the moment. Because I know it's distressing and worrying to watch what's unfolding in the Ukraine, but we're just grateful that we can enjoy football and talk about football to distract us. So, all the clarets, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.